Lechi lach to a land that I will show you. Lech lecha to a place you do not know.
Welcome to the 77th episode of Julia's Miracles. Today we have a special introductory program.
You heard this? Yeah.
The surveillance of Julia has been completed by Mossad, as requested by Interpol. Julia has been spotted by security forces at the Western Wall while trespassing and invading the sacred men's area. Julia has been apprehended sampling spices and honey at the Mahana Yehuda market in Jerusalem, but this was a front for contacting the underground forces. Mossad found her relaxing under a palm tree in Megiddo, where she was actually looking for a missing dead letter drop. Located again, Julia was spying on sensitive security operations on the stairway to heaven in Jaffa. From Julia's secret hideout overlooking Masada, she was located scanning the landscape for collaborators. Julia was seen as Safed, and Mossad found her looking for strategic secrets in a synagogue. In a desperate move, Julia retreated to the Dead Sea, where she was found floating and waiting for an enemy submarine to pick her up. Finally, Julia's getaway camel was located in a parking lot behind her clandestine office awaiting her escape.
Thank you, Julia.
Julia, thank you.
Keep our hearts close to Israel.
Julia, for your wonderful knowledge. I stand in awe of you each and every week when you come out with all this information, and it looks like it just comes off the top of your head. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Julia, you've made the Bible real for me.
Wonderful being on the same time zone as you, and every single thing you do, even though I've been almost every place here, you make everything extra special.
I love you. Your tours are fantastic. And thank you for giving my husband a job.
Yeah, you bring back such memories of when we were in Israel. It's amazing.
Thank you, Julia. I'm seeing enthusiasm is very infectious.
It is a gem from Ein Gedi to Shechem to Bethlehem.
The places that we've been to that give us such wonderful memories, to the places I've never been to that have made me think, oh, I'd like to come back to Israel and see that place. Thank you so much.
So much for all these great programs. Many places I haven't been to, some I have, but you've made it exciting, and I can't wait to meet you in person one of these days. Probably not anytime soon, but really nice to know you and really appreciate all the hard work you and everyone's put into this. So thank you.
Julia, thank you so much for keeping us connected to Israel during this year where none of us can go there. So we're reaching out and trying to feel close, and you're helping us do that. Thank you very much.
We who miss Israel so much, you're a breath of fresh air to give us not only the site, but also the beautiful descriptions of the places that either we've seen or hope to see.
But it was fascinating, and it's certainly not going to be my last one. Thank you so much.
Israel, I really didn't know anything about Israel in terms of the landmarks and the special places, and I do appreciate the opportunity to learn about all these different special places.
Every week they're fabulous, and I seem to learn more about our Talmud and our Jewish history from you more than from many of our Talmudic scholars locally. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Julia, I'd rather watch you than Fauda.
Julia, I met you first in person in September, and you know I love you, and I just wanted to thank you for all of your hard work, and it has been a pleasure to get to know you even more after leaving Israel, and I can't wait to see you soon. So thank you for everything.
Julia,
Thank you from me, Judy Ford.
Oh,
Hold on 1 second. Hold on.
This was amazing. Oh,
Hold on.
my
Hold on.
God.
Hold on.
Well,
Julia, I want to introduce you to the real Julia.
Well, she really looks like me. Listen, you have to keep it forever. And when you finally get to Israel, I want to, I want to see it.
That's great.
This
Oh
is
my
the real
God,
Julia.
this is insane. How did
Did
you
your
do
ra-
that?
Where did you get that?
Did your relative make
Julia.
that? Your sister-in-law, right?
Hold on. I'd like to introduce Barbara. You can wave your hand. My sister. She is
Barbara.
official.
Hello.
Yep, she is the official VFI doll maker, and this is her doll. For you.
Wow.
And we will be mailing this doll to Israel forthwith. So congratulations on your 75th.
Thank you so much. This is amazing. Whose voice is it? Like a Mossad, CIA?
Yeah, whose voice was that?
Huh?
Steve, show it closer, Steve.
No,
No,
whose voice was it on the?
Show the badge.
The voiceover. I'm a volunteer reporter with a radio station in Delaware, and he's my boss, the news director, and he was kind enough to follow this.
Wow. He has such an amazing voice. It sounds like so real. But listen,
Well, he is.
this
He is real.
Yeah.
He's a radio announcer.
This is just amazing. But listen, that doll, it's adorable, but it doesn't have a mouth. I mean, there is a little contradiction.
What?
Wow. Oh, God, thank you so much for making that. It's just
We have the pocketbook here. This is Julia's pocketbook, and the badge you saw, official, laminated.
Yeah, but she needs a backpack. She needs a backpack.
Well,
and a mouth.
And a
Okay. I can't thank you enough. This is just amazing. I will remember it forever. Thank you so much.
That's adorable.
And it's real hair.
I'm going to
Will
unspot
it be on the tiny? Steve, will it be on the tiny URL? I want my family to watch it. Will it be placed on the tiny URL?
It's up there now, but I'll let you know how to get to it.
Okay. All right. Okay. Thank you.
About
Well,
time.
listen, I will try to focus on the show because right now, like, I'm so excited, and I need to find a name for her. Okay. Let's get started because I guess there are some people here. I mean, some of you guys, you know me for so long, so you don't care. Like, okay, let's do so. But other people, they might be willing to watch the, participate in the virtual tour of Ein Gedi. So I think we should start doing that, especially because we have a guest in the end of the presentation. So I want us to have the tour, and then we're going to meet Yael Benifla. And so, so thank you again. I'm totally excited. I will try, be efficient now. Okay, so I will start sharing my screen, and you'll tell me if you can see something. Well, can you see the Ein Gedi and Oasis? Yeah? All right. So listen, we have half an hour to do this amazing tour with the 3 totally amazing locations, an Oasis, a synagogue, and a kibbutz. All of them have the same name. I'm Julia Newman, just in case somebody did not notice that, even though probably you know that. So I'm Julia Newman, and please do follow me.
Ilana, turn on the chat.
Yeah. Okay. So this is my actually this tour is more personal than any other tour because I have a very deep special connection to Ein Gedi, because here you can see me on a tree in Ein Gedi when I'm 10 years old. Okay, that was long ago, and that was the first time I made it to Ein Gedi, and I was just fascinated. Me and my mom, we were walking and talking, the desert, the caves, the waterfall, the Dead Sea Beach. It was just a life-changing experience, and this is when I first read the Bible, and and as you know, I love it ever since. So Ein Gedi really changed my life, and what you can see here. This is a piece of wood we found on the beach of the Dead Sea. It's quite large. It's about like big, and we carry it all the way back to Ein Gedi and then back home. My mom said that it looks like a witch gone with the wind, and it stands in front of my house. So, you know, each time I come back home, I sort of recall Ein Gedi. So you can get this is very special to me. And I wanted to listen just for 1 minute of a very, very famous Israeli song about Ein Gedi. You don't need to understand the words, okay? You will hear Ein Gedi, and just beautiful, beautiful song. So just a minute, we will connect to YouTube. I hope you will be able to hear it. You will let me know in a minute.
ים המוות הכחול בלט ינוע, וממעלה עננה קטנה תשוב, עצה של בדממה יזוע, וכל קו בחול יפה חרוב, האדמה תציב בלהט שמש, ואבק מחניק יעוף ברור, אך אין גדי לא תיפול בקמש, בישלוף גוון ירוק וחור. אין גדי, אין גדי, והיה כי צמחת בחמה. אין גדי, אין גדי, איך פלגים וחותרים בשממה. אין גדי, אין גדי, בך יופי יופה בכל הוד.
Well, I can listen to it again and again. These are two of very famous Israeli singers, Yehudit Ravitz and Gidi Go, and they're singing about the beauty of Ein Gedi. So, a moment of Hebrew, as you know, this is a must. The meaning of the name Ein Gedi, it's a biblical name. Now, as you can see, there are two words, Ein, which is an eye, okay, Ein. But it also have another meaning, which is the true meaning for Ein Gedi. And the other meaning of Ein is a spring. So it's a spring, and Gedi or Gedi is a kid. Okay, so it can be either a kid of an ibex or a kid of a goat, but this is the spring of the kid. That's the literal name of Ein Gedi. And we already been to Ein of Dat, for instance, so this is the spring of Dat. Any Ein in Israel, we have so many Ein, that means that there used to be a spring. And the significance of the spring is huge, because we are a semi-arid country, and you need to have a source of water, a stable source of water, in order to have a settlement. So, Ein Gedi. This is a phrase from the Bible, of course, from the Song of Songs, which mentions Ein Gedi quite a few times. My beloved is to me a cluster of henna blossoms from the vineyards of Ein Gedi. So this is the modern sign towards Ein Gedi, right on the road towards Eilat, as you see, right by the Dead Sea beach. Here, this blue street on the photo, this is the Dead Sea. And this plant, well, it's, I mean, right now you look at it, but when you look at it in the nature, it's like nothing special. But this is the henna, or this is the kofir. And these buds here, these are the fruits which are used to make henna, you know, for body decorations, like tattoos, without tattoos, which is used by different peoples around Mediterranean and the desert areas, just to make paintings on themselves, mainly before weddings. And now we're about to enter the nature reserve of Nachal David. Ein Gedi is the whole geographic area. We have a kibbutz, we have a nature reserve, we have a field school, we have a hot springs. We have various things which are all located in this area of Ein Gedi. And the two main parts of the nature reserve is the Nahal David, which is the one we're going to visit, which is the most famous because it is short and it leads to a waterfall. And you don't have to be a big hiker in order to enjoy the nature there. And the other part of the nature reserve is called Nahal Arugot, but this is longer, more difficult, and requires just more physical skills. So most of you, if you've been to Ein Gedi, so you've hiked this particular part of the nature reserve. This is what it looks like. This is where you get your sandwich before you start hiking. You see some photos of the wildlife which can be seen in the reserve, but you have to be extremely lucky to see a fox, for instance, or even more lucky to see a leopard, which is right corner. And here we start. So first of all, as we entered the nature reserve, we were so excited to see people. You see, actual people hiking in the desert, like not virtual. It was very special. And these people were standing right next to this bush, which is called moringa. And it bears some orange fruits. I mean, you can eat it. It's nothing special, but it is eatable. And right next to it, there is another bush which looks like nothing special, but these are the fruits of it. It's called zakum, okay? So in the beginning, they're green, these fruits, and then they get dark, and then they resemble dates, right? So it is. This bush is also known as the desert date, and it is disgusting. I mean, so many people, when they see these fruits, they look like dates. Oh, dates are good, so let's eat it. And this is like horrible. It is so horrible that in the Muslim tradition, this fruit, the zakum, is called the food of the sinners in hell. Okay, according to the Muslims, this is what you eat if you are in hell for eternity. So you should not taste it. And here we start walking. Please follow me. Okay, first part of it is well paved, so it's it's accessible for wheelchairs and for baby strollers. And you simply walk, into these mounds. And then we got less excited because actually we saw more and more people. As you can see, all these people, they are Orthodox girls. You can tell by the long sleeved shirts and long skirts. They are Orthodox. And then we saw more and more, and then we got less and less excited. The bottom line is that there were about 800 Orthodox girls on a school trip at the same time at Nahal David Reserve, which is way too many. So, excitement became, but okay. And then we saw a Yael. You all know that Yael is an ibex. This is a young male, and this is a bit older female. And the Psalms mention the high mountains belonged to the wild ibex, and this is true. This is the most typical animal of the Judean desert, and especially Ein Gedi Reserve. I mean, this time we did not see many Yaelim because they were probably just, overwhelmed by the 50 or so buses which were parked at the parking lot. But usually you actually see the Yaelim, and you cannot pet them, you're not supposed to, but they're really, really close to you, and it is so great. And as you look at this ibex, you think that actually in the ancient times, probably there were even more ibexes in this area. And this is why Ein Gedi was named Ein Gedi, okay, after a kid of such a Yael. And as I said, later on, we will meet a human Yael. And then the other most common animal is called shafan. Okay, shafan is a hyrax, a rock hyrax, which is mentioned in Psalms in the Bible, just next to the Yael. And it looks like a little, a fat, tailless rat, probably it's about this size. You can see it basically all over Israel, but they are most typical of the desert. They live in big families, big flocks, really nice and cute. No way to pet them. Just look at them, okay? And this is called shafan. Now, somehow shafan in Hebrew translated to a rabbit. It doesn't look like a rabbit. Actually, it's a far relative of an elephant. I mean, in the very, very ancient time. They're very cute. So, Yael and shafan. Okay, now this is the end of the accessible trail. You can see at the very bottom of the photo, you can see the fence, and then behind the fence is a tiny little waterfall, and then we start climbing upstairs. Okay, actually this hike is not difficult, not too long, but it's all about upstairs, downstairs. All right, so be ready, and we start hiking upstairs here. And as we start hiking upstairs, we are facing this rock, okay? And hopefully you can see some openings in the rock. I hope you can see some little caves, okay? And this place is entirely about love and King David. So first of all, please follow me upstairs here, okay? Take your time, no rush. It's not a long hike, okay? Catch your breath, and here we are. Okay, we're facing the caves, we're facing a raven here, and we're facing two little birds, male and female, called Dead Sea starlings or Tristramid. They were such an adorable, loving couple. You know, I was taking a photo and they were looking at me, looking at each other like, hey, who is she? Shall we stay? Yeah, we shall. And you know, since I see you so often, so it actually reminded me of some of the loving couples in our VFI Educates community. I will not mention names, so nobody will be offended, but it was a loving couple. So as I said, it's all about love. Here they are. And King David. And here are the caves. And that's because, again, back to the Bible, this place is so biblical. We read that after Saul returned from pursuing the Philistines, he was told, David is in the desert of En Gedi. So Saul took 3,000 able young men from all Israel and set out to look for David and his men near the crags of the wild goats. In other words, around here. Okay, we will not be reading the whole chapter, but the other part of the same chapter, we read about David and his followers hiding in a cave. Now, Saul, you know, the first king, he needed to go to the bathroom. Okay, that happens. That's actually in the Bible. Okay, now, being in the desert, the best place to go to a bathroom is a cave. So he entered a cave, and obviously God sent him to the very same cave where David and his people were hiding. And Saul was so busy doing his business that he did not notice. So as he was busy, okay, I'm just quoting the Bible, you can check later. So as he was doing his business, David crawled next to him and cut off a piece of his cloth. When Saul was done, he left the cave, and then David walked out of the cave. He called him, hey, Saul. Saul looked back, he saw King David, he saw the piece of cloth in his hand, and then David told him, listen, I could have killed you right here in that cave as you were, you know, with your pants down. I did not kill you because I will never kill a person who was anointed by God to be my king. And then Saul realized that David is telling the truth. So he cried, and he returned back to his capital, which was not yet Jerusalem, it was Gibeah. And only after King Saul was killed in a battle up on the Gilboa Mounts up north, only then King David became a king. So I'm not sure whether it was this cave or maybe that one or some other cave, because we have like dozens of caves all over En Gedi. But as you walk there, you can actually see, you know, the reality of the Bible. So let's say that this is this cave, maybe. And then more about love. In the book Song of Songs, we read about Shulamit. Oh, Shulamit, return, return, and let us gaze upon you. Shulamit was a beautiful, young, simple girl, and she became the lover of the beautiful, almighty, and wise King Solomon. According to the tradition, I'm not sure how and why, but according to the tradition, her beautiful, long, dark hair was transformed into this shrub, which is called the hair of Shulamit. This is the name of it, Zarot Shulamit. And this one can be found all over Ein Gedi Reserve. It needs a lot of water, so you can find it around other springs up north as well. But this is the best place to see Zarot Shulamit. It's a very gentle, very small, beautiful plant. So let's take another look of this pond. You know, in Ein Gedi, we have so many little ponds and drops of water and tiny little waterfalls. And, you know, you look at this right now and, well, drops of water. Well, I have a tap, which maybe I have to fix now. But just remember, we are in the desert. And most of the time, most of the year, you cannot survive for more than a few hours without drinking fresh water. And in some cases, when you do find water in the desert, it will be brackish. Right now, we are looking at the hair of Shulamit, and we are looking at cool and delicious and fresh water just dropping out of the rocks and later forming a waterfall. So it is a miracle, you know, it is a source of life. And this is why Torah is compared to fresh living water in the Bible, because this is something you cannot live without. And you're not supposed to live without Torah as well. So that lady we just saw, they had a pineapple. So they were kind enough to share that pineapple with me and Sharana. So this is me enjoying some cold water and having a slice of watermelon, which is, by the way, forbidden because they are not allowed to eat in the reserve. But since they already had a pineapple, so I cannot eat this. And then we have, okay, this is a beautiful flower. This is the bud of the same flower. And here we have the same flower almost open. And here we have something, I don't know, can you recognize? Do you know what do we have in common between these plants? This pickles from my fridge and this country? Any ideas? What is the connection between a plant, a country, and the pickles? No, nobody? Okay, well, so this is cypress, and these are capers, and this is the flower of the caper bush. And so next time if you have a pizza with capers, so just recall that this caper comes from this bud of this plant, and cypress is probably named after capers because there were so many capers around Cyprus, even though there is another theory as well, which will be mentioned in a presentation 2 weeks from now. This flower is considered to be the love flower because the stamens, I hope this is the right word for it, the stamens are so long and so beautiful, so well exposed, and you know, stamens produce next generation. So the flower of the caper, at talaf in Hebrew, is the symbol of love. And then we walk through a cane tunnel, and then we make it to another little waterfall by another beautiful caper flower. And then we make it to this rock. I looked at this rock and I thought, well, this looks so familiar. Doesn't it look like this? I mean, and it is a natural, it's total natural rock, but it looked like an Hyrex to me. And then we have to take a left and we finally make it to the waterfall. This is the best part. This is the end of this short hike, and we make it to this beautiful waterfall in the middle of the Negev, of the desert, David's waterfall. Okay, let's take a look around. What we cannot see because it's so up there right above the waterfall, there is a beautiful cave. There is an option to hike to this cave, but this is real difficult. So we will not be hiking there. We will start walking backwards, okay, back to our car, to the parking lot. Right here in this red circle, there is a lady, and she is a ranger. And the reason why she's sitting here, okay, is because this is the path which starts climbing all the way to the top and all the way to this beautiful cave above the waterfall. But since it is long and difficult, so you cannot start hiking after 1 p.m. So she is here to make sure that we're not hiking. So now we have to start hiking back. Now we are facing the Dead Sea. This is Sharona, my good friend. You saw her the day before yesterday, okay? And we are looking at the Dead Sea and the Moab mounts of Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan on the other side, and the field school of Ein Gedi. And now we on our way to our next destination, and on the way we could see this little half-ruined shack, which is where Kibbutz Ein Gedi started. It was first built here, and only later it moved to the current location. So this is the cradle of this beautiful Kibbutz Ein Gedi, which we're gonna visit later. Now let's visit the ancient synagogue. So first of all, we'll get a Coke. Again, this is Sharona, of course. We were working together the day before yesterday. This is a little model reconstruction of the village of Ein Gedi as it probably looks some 15 centuries ago. Okay, so little clay-made houses and one white, big, beautiful structure, and this is a synagogue, of course. So some ruins, and this tree is called the Sodom apple. Okay, it is very poisonous, and the only insect which can eat it is this big fat thing, which is called kushan arsi in Hebrew. This is a type of locust. It is very poisonous because it eats the poisonous Sodom apple. And it is called Sodom apple because it is so poisonous, just like the people of Sodom. It was cursed. And it does look like sort of an apple. You see, this is what it looks like with some beautiful flowers. It is empty inside. There's nothing to eat in there. So, well, it's a very strange plant, which can be found only along the Dead Sea shore. Some more photos of the village. Okay, a mikveh, of course. And now it's about time for us to visit the synagogue. When you drive past Ein Gedi to a lot, so you can see this weird looking white tent. And now it's about time for us to see what is underneath. So I can already tell you that underneath we have a synagogue, or better to say the ruins of the synagogue, or better to say the mosaic floor of the synagogue. But yes, it is a synagogue. What do you have to do before you visit a synagogue? Well, in order to be a proper kosher Jew, you have to go to a mikveh, all right? And yes, indeed, we have a mikveh right next to the synagogue. So right now, I'm standing inside the mikveh. It is empty, of course, but I am there. So imagine that I just took my ritual bath, and now I'm climbing outside, and I'm ready to visit the synagogue. I hope you are ready to visit the synagogue. Okay, a little jump, and we're about to get in. Welcome. This is the ancient synagogue of Ein Gedi. This is the mosaic floor, which was renovated, of course. And now we should sit next to Sharona on these renovated benches. And now she is, and we are, okay, virtually facing the bima and the location of the Holy Ark. We are facing Jerusalem. We are facing south now, okay? We have a beautiful carpet-looking mosaic here. We have another one here, okay? Now, just for you to take a closer look, you can see this weird-looking birds of imagination. You may say that this is non-kosher. This is true, but this is a different story. We have many examples of animals and even human beings in mosaic floors of a synagogue. Okay, and here, let's take a closer look at the inscription, which is found right next to this carpet-looking, okay, mosaic floor. Theoretically, we can read it, okay? If you read Hebrew, you can read here Taleh, and here you can read Shor, and here you can read Te'omim, Sartan, Ari, Betula. Okay, we can actually easily read it. The rest is in Aramaic, and the word I just read for you are the signs of the zodiac. All right, we have many other synagogues which mention zodiac signs, and we have the whole debate, why was it so important to mention the zodiac signs in synagogues? But again, this is a different topic. As a fact, here it is. In addition to the inscription, they found, this is amazing. I mean, this looks like a piece of burnt, I don't know, a piece of burnt something. Okay, it's not impressive at all, but this is actually a tiny little piece of a scroll which was burned in a fire, and when it was opened, it proved to be a piece of the book of Leviticus from the 6th century AD. You know, which is, I mean, it is amazing. They found an inscription, I will say something about it now. They found a burned piece of a Torah scroll, which was definitely used in that synagogue. And they found this menorah, okay, no question asked. I mean, this is a bronze menorah, and this is a vessel, and both of them were found right where the Holy Ark was supposed to be. So that synagogue was ruined somewhere in the 7th century by either the Persian invasion or the Muslim invasion, we're not sure. But it was just, you know, burned and ruined, and these artifacts were found here like 15 centuries later, which is, again, amazing. And the most amazing thing about the synagogue and about the inscription, you see here in this cartouche, it is very difficult to read, okay? You will have to believe me, but it says Rose de Carta, okay? Which means in Aramaic, the secret of the town. And this part of the inscription is actually a curse to whoever will reveal the secret of the town to strangers. Okay? Now, they do not say what secret are we talking about, but the common explanation, the common understanding is that we are talking about the afalsemon, about the balsam, which was the most precious perfume and the best incense, which was used in the temple and which was used by the entire Roman world. And that was the source of income, the source of wealth for ancient Ein Gedi. Okay, now this gentleman, his name is Guy Ehrlich. He lives in Kibbutz Almog, which is at the very north end of the Dead Sea. And he believes, he's not the only one, okay, but he believes that he knows what is the biblical afalsemon, what is that plant, okay? And that's what it looks like, nothing special whatsoever. The Latin name is Commiphora giladensis. But anyhow, he has a Balm of Gilad farm right next to Kibbutz Almog, and he makes the incenses. And, you know, there is a mystical feeling when you visit this farm. It's like, you know, you smell it, and maybe, probably, this is the smell of the temple. And maybe, probably, this is the perfume which was used by Sulamit, the lover of King Solomon. Who knows? The knowledge is lost. We don't know how to make the proper perfume, and not everybody agrees that this is the perfume and this is the plant. But anyhow, there's something amazing in it. And the secret of the town of Ein Gedi might still be a secret. And by the way, some people claim that an olive oil with the persimmon, with this plant, actually helped them with the COVID-19 symptoms. So, who knows? All right, and just before we leave, we can sit in this, what do you call it? A hanging chair, okay, overlooking the Dead Sea and the synagogue. And this is actually a wonderful place to relax. So next time you make it to the synagogue, you should sit in that chair. And from here, and actually I ran out of time, we drive by the Dead Sea beach with these beautiful views. And we turn to Ein Gedi. This time we're talking about a kibbutz with a spa hotel with the botanical garden. The whole thing is inside a kibbutz. And that's what the kibbutz entrance looks like. And again, just want to remind you that we are in the middle of the desert. We have not just the desert, we have an extreme desert. We have less than 100 millimeters of rain per year, which is nothing, okay? But they brought water. There is a pipe irrigation, of course, and the water is brought from the same source as the water of the waterfall, which is the Ein Gedi spring. So welcome to the first kibbutz by the Dead Sea. This is how they started, okay? You see this gentleman, I mean, this is an old photo, we don't see much, but this gentleman is actually sitting on a boat because Ein Gedi, the kibbutz, was established before there was a road. So to begin with, they brought supplies on trucks. But then if you wanted to go visit your mom living in wherever, okay, there was no road. So the only connection between kibbutz Ein Gedi and the rest of the universe was by boat. So you would sail from kibbutz Ein Gedi down south to Sodom, and from there you will take a truck to Beersheba, and from Beersheba you will take whatever, and the supplies were brought by airplanes to the first settlers. So that's how it all started. Not very promising, and now we have this hotel. This is where we're going to stay overnight. This is a great place, okay? It was renovated lately, and this is how it looked in the beginning, like early 60s. And right behind the hotel lobby, you have this beautiful grass lawn with this huge, I mean, this tree is huge. You don't see how big it is. It is huge. Okay, after I said huge 3 times in a row, can you guess what tree this is? I don't know if you ever see it, but I guess you all heard the name.
Baobab?
Pardon?
Baobab tree?
Yes, exactly. This is a baobab. Okay, remember when we were little and we read The Little Prince and he had to take care of his planet because otherwise the baobab will kill it? So this is the baobab. Here it is. So we have a baobab here and we have another baobab on the right. And the entire kibbutz is a man-made oasis, and the entire kibbutz is listed as a botanical garden. You know, there is an international list of botanical gardens. So the entire kibbutz is considered to be a botanical garden, and you can just walk around it and see trees and shrubs and flowers you never saw before. It is, and again, you are in the desert. It is an amazing, amazing feeling, you know. So date palms and other palms and simple little houses. I mean, this is no fancy kibbutz, but the feeling as you stay there is amazing. And this is a little garden with, you see, colorful turtles. And this is a rock with 3 metal ibexes. I hope you can see them, 2 on top and another one resting at the footsteps. And more flowers and more desert. And now, I hope Yael is with us.
Hi, I'm here.
Yay, Yael. Okay, so I would like to introduce you to Yael. This is Yael, of course, and this is Naved, the little one here. And Yael and Naved Ben Nifla, the meaning of their names is Ibex and Oasis. Ben Nifla is son of wonderful, or a wonderful son. After I met Yael, Ben Nifla, a wonderful son, became Noam's nickname. So now, Yael, I will stop sharing my screen. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome Yael, a resident of Kibbutz Ein Gedi.
Thank you, Julia, for the introduction.
Hey, okay, חכי שנייה. Steve, could you please make Yael a co-host so she can share her screen? Do you see her? Yael Ben Nifla.
I'll do it, Steve.
Okay, as we are making Yael a co-host, all right, here it is. So I would like to introduce Yael, and then she will do it again for herself. She is a resident of Kibbutz Ein Gedi. She's a mother of 2 little guys, and she is a wonderful cook. Okay, she's more than that. So the rest will be told by her. Yael, please, it's all yours.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Good evening from Israel, or good morning, wherever you are. My name is Yael Ben Nifla. Here in the picture, you can see me and my 2 boys at Purim, the last holiday we had. It's like Halloween. As you see, I'm dressed as Captain Hook, and my boys are the crocodile and Peter Pan. It was very, very fun, even though there's Corona, COVID-19, and we did what we could in the kibbutz. I live here in the past 3 years. Actually, I'm a tour guide as well. And I realized that here in the heart of the desert, there's not many places where people can eat. If you compare it to other places in Israel, there are many restaurants, many farms that host tourists for meals. Here in our area, there are not many. So actually, colleagues asked me to start hosting in my house for meals, and that's what I started to do. I started making traditional Israeli, Middle Eastern. Actually, as you probably know, Israeli food is a fusion. It's a melting pot. So I collected recipes from cultures I relate to, such as my grandparents that came from Kurdistan and from Egypt. And also cultures that I knew as being a tour guide, giving culinary tours in Jerusalem once upon a time before I moved to Ein Gedi. So here in the picture you can see many delicious food that I had the pleasure to feed people that never saw these Georgian dishes here in the basket, or this alayas, which is Moroccan. It's a pita bread with meatloaf that you cook it together, and it's delicious. So in the past year, actually, I started it with being on a maternity leave. And I said, the minute it's over, I'm going to make it a huge business. I'm enjoying hosting so much. People are coming to this kibbutz. They asked me so many questions about how it feels like living in a kibbutz in a very small community of 500 people. People really enjoying the food. And I said, this is going to be my main business, not only being a tour guide. And then COVID-19 came, and I had to invent myself again, not being able to host in my house. So I started something very, very new in the kibbutz in the past 6 months. I started something called Shishuk. Shishuk is a Friday market. I collected entrepreneurs in the culinary business, actually mostly home cooking, and I invited them to cook with me and to open a market and to host people that are traveling in the area. So we have homemade beer, we have hummus. I make knafe, which is a Turkish dessert with kadayif pasta, here we call it, and cheese. It's yummy. And also Georgian food. We have a big variety of food, as you can understand. Also, kibbutz became a very, very large melting pot. And that's a very new entrepreneur. I hope that when you'll come, we will be huge and more people will join our shuk market. And you'll be able to visit us. And I'll be glad to answer any questions you have, if you have about the kibbutz or about me, if you want.
Yeah, Elle, before you answer questions, somehow you were made the host of this entire thing. If you could make me, Ilano, the host, like hand it back, then I'll be able to control, people have questions or something.
Let's see, make host.
Wonderful. Okay. Thank you.
Awesome.
Well, guys, you have an opportunity to really talk to a resident of a little kibbutz in the middle of the desert, which is small and remote, and on the other hand, maybe one of the most famous locations in Israel. So you have a question to...
Look at the chat, Julia. There's some...
Oh, there are questions to Yael. Right. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I see that. Okay. Yael, Gail asked, are those jars of grapefruit juice? Love Israeli grape juice. Did we see grapefruit? Did we see grapefruit juice on your photos?
Grapefruit juice?
No.
Not sure.
No. All right, maybe.
But there are many grapefruits trees in the kibbutz.
They were when you were hiking, you had a picnic and you were hiking.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my screen.
Okay.
Here.
How long has
that one? Pink lemonade with pomegranate.
That one.
Okay, yeah, now I see. Okay, now I see what we are talking about. Okay. How long has your kibbutz existed? Well, this is the kibbutz was established as a Achzut Nachal, as a military spot in 1953, and then 6 years later it moved to the current location, and it is ever since. So it's almost as old as the state itself. How many members of the kibbutz, and what are the major money makers of the kibbutz?
Okay, so there's a difference. There are 500 people living here, but not everybody are members. For example, I'm not a member. I only live here for the past 2.5 years. If you want to become a member, you have to live here at least 2 years and then buy a house. There are 200 members of the kibbutz. 70 of them are from the pioneers that came a long, long time ago and established this beautiful, beautiful place. I always say that this is the most beautiful kibbutz in Israel. It's actually, it's the only botanical garden in the world that people are actually living. You walk around and there are trees from mostly Africa because they had to find some plants that will survive the heat, because it's super hot here. It gets to 120 Fahrenheit in summer. Now, our main incomes come from, first of all, tourism. We have a hotel, and there's a spa, and also the Botanical Garden. People, of course, pay to enter. We also have a water factory.
Bottling the mineral water from Ein Gedi Spring. I guess you're familiar, those of you who've been to Israel, mineral water bottle with a big dark ibex on them. So this is another major source of income.
Yes. There are, now they're starting investing in medical marijuana, in cannabis. It's really, really in the beginning. We call it in diapers.
Okay.
And that's the main incomes.
Are these products you showed us mostly made for individual travelers to take with them? The basket?
Are you talking about what?
Yeah, your baskets. Yeah. The photos you showed us.
Yeah. People are calling me in advance. They're making reservations. They can either do a picnic or eat at the hotel. There are a few versions.
Okay. Are the hotels on the Dead Sea surviving the corona and the shrinking of the sea?
How's the hotel managing that?
Yeah.
Actually, the spa, which is it belongs to the kibbutz, is on the beach.
It used to be.
It used to be on the beach. Today it's 2 kilometers, one mile away from where it used to be. So they have a tractor, and you're going up on the tractor, and it takes you every 15 minutes. Actually, for now it's closed. I hope it will reopen very soon, because the tourists come mostly for that.
We hope so. With the shrinking of the Dead Sea, how far is the beach from Ein Gedi Hotel? Well, Ein Gedi Hotel was originally far from the beach because the kibbutz is located on a hill. So there were always shuttles driving you downhill to the beach. And now, because of the sinkholes, the beach is closed. So now you have a shuttle which will drive you even further.
Yeah.
Where do children go to school?
Daycare are in the kibbutz, and then there is
primary school.
Primary school is 40 minutes drive, and it's for all the municipality. There are 1,000 people in the whole municipality that are going. Is it me?
Somebody is sharing his screen now for some reason. Nice. Who is sharing his screen and why? Okay. Where's the school yet?
So the school is 40 minutes to the south, closer to Ein Bokek. Bezoar, in a place called Bezoar. The high school from 7th grade is here in the kibbutz.
Okay. All right. Well, this is a long question. Well, short question, long answer. What are the advantages and disadvantages? Oops, I lost it. And the disadvantages of living in a kibbutz.
Okay, so this kibbutz, a part of being a kibbutz, is that it's isolated. The closest kibbutz we have nearby is 20 minutes to the north and then 40 minutes to the south. So it's very, very isolated. So pro is that we have everything we need right here. We have culture, even theater. We have, first of all, at the time of the corona, it makes no difference because we order everything from outside. And also that the community has to support itself. So if I don't have my parents here, my parents live in Jerusalem. So after I gave birth, I received meals for 3 weeks, almost a month. Every day we received dinner from a different family at the kibbutz. And also because it's so isolated, it had to find a reason to leave people here, mostly during the holidays. So every holiday here is a festival for children. So most times we never leave the kibbutz when there are holidays. While in the other places in Israel, people are just looking to go out. Here we longing for the holidays just to stay in, and people are coming here and we're hosting. So I see that as a big plus. As for disadvantages, I guess it's the distance. And also part of the reasons that we arrived here, I'm a part of a group of teachers that came to teach at school because it's so isolated. Children here had the feeling that they have nowhere to, there no high hopes for their future. They say we live nowhere, we will stay here, we won't make our dreams come true, nothing happens here. So either they leave or they stay here and don't do much. So the principal of the high school brought a bunch of teachers, my husband is one of them, to refresh the environment here, to make them feel like to have higher hopes for their future. He brought, my husband is an industrial designer that gives them courses in tech and also in a workshop that they can cooperate with other classes, and just to develop them and make them believe that they can do anything they want. So I guess this is a disadvantage for me, that was a disadvantage for many years, that they believed that because it's in the middle of nowhere, they have nowhere to hope.
To develop themselves.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks. How does being a member versus a non-member affect your life, your daily life?
Not much, actually. They have more worries about where the kibbutz is going and what it becomes. And I mostly enjoy the lifestyle that we have here. It's like a club, like a golf club, living here. You don't need to go with the wallet. You leave your house open all the time. And they have more worries about making sure this place is operating well for the future. I guess being a member, we don't have many differences between us. It's not something that I feel, because we really were welcome here. They were very, very happy to have us here. So they didn't make us feel different.
Okay. Regarding the water bottling factory, where do you get the water? Well, the answer is from, there are actually 4 springs around Ein Gedi. The Ein Gedi spring, that's what it's called, is the main one, but there are 3 more. And this is an aquifer. These are springs which are the openings, so-called, of the aquifer, of the underground water, which starts as a rainfall in the Jerusalem Mountains. The result is that actually there's a lot of fresh water coming out of these springs, and some of it flows down the river in Nachal David and Nachal Arugot, as you saw in my presentation, and the rest is bottled, and another part is used to water the gardens of Kibbutz Ein Gedi. So this is a mineral, fresh spring water. The sinkholes are because the Dead Sea is receding, yes, and so the bottom of the Dead Sea, which is basically salt, is being dissolved by rainwater. Actually, today I was hiking in an area which is hardly visited, the area of the sinkholes, and some of them are brackish, some of them are real salty. Few of them are actually fresh water. You can swim in the sinkholes. This is an amazing experience. Okay, Stuart, what is the healthcare like in the kibbutz? Yeah, this is a question for you.
We have here a clinic, and we have an ambulance that if something very bad happens, you go on the ambulance and it takes you to the hospital. It's mostly also depends on private healthcare, which is sponsored because we are isolated and we have no other options. Yeah, when I was pregnant, they told me that you do not wait 1 minute. The minute you have constructions, you go on the ambulance and they take you to the hospital. There are many children in the kibbutz named after rivers, streams on the way, because they were born on the way to the hospital near the stream.
Oh my God.
There is Hatzatzon. Hatzatzon is a very nice name.
So was
I'm joking. It's like
was
the paramedics
born
that
in Oasis?
Sorry, yeah.
Nave was born in Oasis.
I wish.
Yeah.
No, actually, no.
You made it to the hospital, to the delivery room. Okay. Do any of the workers at Masada live in Ein Gedi?
Unfortunately, no. Most of the workers in Masada live in Arad. The CEO of the site lives in En Tamar in the south, near En Bokek, near the hotels. And there are not many tour guides actually in the area as well.
Okay. Wendy asks, what would be a reason to not be a member if you live there? Is it because you don't want to own a home there? Is that a criteria for being a member? And how close is the closest hospital?
Okay, let's start from the end. The closest hospital is an hour away in Jerusalem, Har HaTzofim. And as for the if I do not want to be a member, we're still thinking about it. We're more free birds. We're not sure we want to be here forever, mostly as for our children education, because we don't have any choices here. We don't have choices at all, actually. There are only one school, and we're not sure it fits our dreams. And also, if there was a chance of being a member, as I told you, you have to buy a house. For now, there are no houses for sale. There are no new constructions, no buildings, nothing. So there's not a chance for us to be members right now. But if there were, maybe we would consider it for the the next few years, because renting a house in the kibbutz is not as cheap as people might think, because it's hole in the desert. It's quite expensive, and I guess it might have been better buying a house. It's cheaper than doing it anywhere else in Israel, but there is no houses for sale, no plots to buy, nothing for now, so it doesn't matter.
All right. Well, let me just check that we ran out of questions. And
Julia, we have two questions.
Yeah, sure. Gary, hey Barry, sure. Go ahead.
When we were at Ein Gedi on the archaeological dig, we stayed at the kibbutz, but there was a big pomelo grove there, and I wanted to know where that still is there. We used to leave the dig very hot and pick up pomelos and eat them. That's one question. The second thing is about the water, bottling the water. I thought there was a big controversy about that. There was ecological controversy. Why should you use the Ein Gedi water to put in plastic bottles?
Okay. So as for the pomelo, no, there are no plantaries of pomelos now. They tried with mangoes that they were delicious, but it didn't last for long. And now they're trying with grapes. So that's what we have. As for plantations and dates, of course, I forgot we have the dates. And as for the bottling of water, it's a very long, we can have a very long conversation about it. But mostly you need to understand that if Israel wanted people to live here, and understand that before 1967, it was on the border. It was so hard to get here. People that came to live here had to be, they were in a great danger, actually. So if Israel wanted that there will be a settlement here, they had to give them something that will make them feel at home. Now, living in the desert with no plants around you is hard. It's hot here that you cannot imagine. And what they've done is started to plant trees, and they use the water to plant it, to make it grow and to make it a home for them in the heart of the desert. So people don't understand that they have to use this water either for watering the plants or for an income. And people might think that this kibbutz is very rich. It's not. It's not rich, and they're doing what they can with what they have around them. There are no diamonds here.
Okay. But yes, definitely there's a big controversy about the subject. Also because the water was taken from the nature reserve. So, it's we actually saw plants getting dry. We saw trees which lived for hundreds of years in the nature reserve suffering from lack of water. But yes, eventually there was some sort of an agreement signed between the kibbutz members and National Parks authorities, so to make sure that enough water is supplied for the plants. Okay, there's a question about the population of the area. So in the kibbutz, there are about 500 people living now, and this is basically it. I mean, on top of that, there are tourists, of course, hiking the paths and staying at the field school and the youth hostel, but the population per se is about 500 only. Another question is everyone secular? Do they observe Shabbat, Kashrut, go to shul? Is everybody secular?
I think there are only a few people that are religious in the kibbutz. This kibbutz is secular. There is no synagogue, no mikveh. You have the springs if you want. But we do have He called himself a secular rabbi. And we have a kiddush every Friday before dinner, where he reads from איך אומרים? פרשת השבוע.
Yeah, the parasha.
He's doing it his own way. It's beautiful. I never enjoyed so much kiddush like I enjoy it here in the kibbutz, even though that I come from a family that have a kiddush every Friday by the book. And here I feel more connected to it because he's doing an effort. He's making an effort to make people relate to it, because people here religious and they're like, oh my God, what's going to happen to us? And he makes it available and
welcoming.
Yeah. So we do have here a sort of a touch with religion.
Some traditions are observed.
Mostly traditions, yeah.
All right. Wendy asks, if it gets up to 120 degrees in the summer, do people work outside or do most people stay inside in the air conditioning?
So this is lucky because it's hot everywhere in Israel in the summer, in Jerusalem, in Tel Aviv, wherever. But here you don't have to spend more than 5 minutes outside. So we call it, we're moving from one AC to the other. And we have a swimming pool and we have enough things to do when it's super, super hot. So people are not working outside. It's impossible. Even at night, it's super hot. It's not like every place in the desert because the mountains here absorbs the heat and they take it out at night. So it's like a fan. You open the door of the house and you feel like you open the oven. It's terrible. So mostly we spend 5 minutes out and we're going indoors to indoors. We're not spending time outside except from the pool.
Which is inside. Okay. Well, I think this time we truly ran out of questions. Well, Yael, תודה רבה for taking the time, and I know that it's bedtime for your kids, and this is definitely time for bedtime for a young mother. And I really appreciate the fact that they did not wake up, so you could spend some time with us and answer all the questions. And
I hope to see you here very soon.
We hope to see you in reality as soon as possible, and I hope to bring all these wonderful people who just saw you and taste.
Amen.
Amen.
Shalom.
לילה טוב.
לילה טוב.
לילה טוב. תודה. Okay, so that was Yael Ben Nifla. You know, her name is so amazing. I mean, especially for me, Yael is, as some of you know, is my daughter's name, and Ben Nifla is a wonderful son. I've asked her how come she has this very special name, and that's because, well, this is her husband's last name, and it came from a name of a small town in Spain, which is called Ben Nifla. Now, apparently, her husband's family originally came from this Ben Nifla town, being expelled from Spain, you know, when Jews were sent out of there on the Spanish exile in the end of the 15th century. So they kept the name of the town they came from, and then in the early 80s, high officers in the Israeli army, they were forced to change their names, like to do it Hebrew sounding. It's called Le Avret. So his father had to change his name to something Hebrew speaking. So Ben Nifla became Ben Nifla, which is a wonderful son. And she is a wonderful cook indeed. So, all right.
Julia?
Yes.
I wanted to ask Barbara if she couldn't explain the details of the Julia doll. And by the way,
well, yeah, Barbara, I would love to hear.
the Julia doll and I are getting very comfortable together.
The other thing, Steve, is we had to ask if there were any questions for Julia's presentation. Do you want to talk about the doll first?
Yeah, let's go to the doll.
Okay, because I think there are probably people here who, okay, whatever you want.
Can you unmute yourself, Barbara?
Okay. Well, the doll is crocheted. I've been crocheting my entire life, so just another project that Steve got after me to make. And it's just fun. It's a lot of fun, my kind of fun. I know other people think it's torture, but for me, it's fun. It's all crocheted.
Barbara, thank you so much, and I really hope that the next VFI Plus program will indeed happen this year sometime. And Steve, please bring this doll to Israel. I have to meet her. Barbara, I hope you will come along as well. We did not meet yet in person. I know Adele, so I will be so happy to meet you in person.
Yeah, I will too. I think Steve is going to send the doll to you.
It's not going to wait until you actually come here. It will make it first. Okay, so well, if you send it to me, so I will place the doll right next to me here, and she will be, give me some advices.
Okay.
Thank you, everybody. So listen. There are just a few questions as far as I can see regarding my presentation, and I'm not sure if people are still here, but just before, I answer these questions, I would like to remind you that next week, we are going to meet again as usual Tuesday, but it's going to be different timing, okay? It's going to be 2 hours earlier than usual, and it will be a wonderful and updated presentation about the recent excavations at the Tel Beit Shemesh. Okay, this is Tuesday. And then Thursday, we are going to the Lebanese border. We will be actually driving along the Lebanese border, starting from the coastal plain, starting from the marine grottos of Rosh Hanikra. And we will be driving east, looking at Lebanon, at Upper Galilee and Lebanon again. And there's so much to see. Okay, so we have Beit Shemesh and the Lebanese border next week.
And we also have Wednesday, which starts at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's a presentation by Brigadier General Yossi, who we've met before, titled Inside Israeli Intelligence. And he is associated with the Mossad Museum. Should be very interesting. It's Wednesday at 1 o'clock.
Are we interested in that?
We can't have an appointment.
So you have a very busy week. You don't have like much time for other occupations.
No.
Please be prepared. Okay, so Marcia, how tall is the Ein Gedi piece of wood? It's a bit about this size. It's about the size of a finger, even smaller than that. Okay, like I would say a little finger. That's approximately the size of this burnt piece of. It's not wood. It's actually a scroll. Okay, burnt scroll. Okay, what else? What is the source of this freshwater well? I've already explained the aquifer water and the rains in Jerusalem Mounds. Is the water in Ein Gedi potable? Yes. I mean, it's totally drinkable. It's cool. It's fresh. It's delicious. It's probably the best water you ever had. I mean, it's really, and this is why this mineral water bottle factory is a major source of income for the kibbutz, because this mineral water is actually the best mineral water we have. Okay. Yeah, well, I think, oh, Alan, we drank from that water in 1984. Well, that's still same water. Okay, I think that's it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I think we ran out of questions unless you have, there is a question, how do you spell that tree? I'm not sure which tree.
Baobab.
Oh, the baobab. Oh, baobab. Yeah, but just like as you hear it, it is indeed huge. Yeah. Okay, I think we're done.
Julia,
Now
well,
back
thanks
to
so much.
smooth session. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks so much for taking our brains on an interesting journey to a peaceful place, and take the weekend off.
Okay, thank you. Enjoy your schmoozing, and thank you again for this wonderful presentation and this beautiful doll. And see you next week. And thank you for coming, and all the best.
Julia.
Bye.
Bye.
Visit Ein Gedi. Bye, Marcia.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Julia. Okay,
I'm
we're in
gonna miss my doll, Julia. I'm gonna miss her. She's my new girlfriend.
Oh, so maybe you keep it until you come over to Israel. Maybe it should stay longer with you. But if you send it to me, I will place it right next to me, and you will see her at all times. She's really, but you must add a mouse to her. I mean, she cannot be quiet for so long. Possible. Okay.
Laila Tov.
Thank you. Laila Tov.
We're in schmooze mode now, and folks can